there, Alex here. Hot on the heels of the KZ-S2, we now have yet another new pair of TWS earbuds from KZ, the KZ-Z1. Thanks to Lin Sol again, I was able to get my hands on it a little earlier so I can share some of my thoughts on it. So without further ado, let's get started. In terms of design, the Z1 seems to be using a similar design language as the S1 rather than the more industrial looking S2. The earbuds themselves are a little more sculpted and curvaceous looking, and I think this reverse teardrop design is actually quite attractive looking, especially in this green color option. The case is a little bigger than the S2, which is a bit of a bummer, but it's still easy enough to carry around. I like its design, especially the matte finish, which makes the glossy earbuds stand out more. The only thing I don't really like here is the use of micro USB charging, which is a step backwards from its predecessors. The earbuds fit my ears a little nicer than the S2, probably because of its shape, so it's really comfortable to use even while jogging, and never feels like it's going to drop out of my ears. The default ear tips don't really give a good seal for me, but I was able to get a good fit with one of the extra tips provided. Oh, and there is no mention of it being water resistant, so I'll avoid using it in the rain. The Z1 uses touch controls, and like its predecessors, it's easy to use and quite responsive. There is still no volume control here, but it does have the same low latency mode as the S2. So there is still some latency, but it is at a very usable level. It has the same voice prompt as the S2 as well, which is nice. Call quality is pretty much as expected, so it's just okay in a quiet environment and will struggle a little when it's really noisy. I have no major issues with connectivity, and I can use either one of the earbuds independently if I want to. It only supports AAC codec and no aptX support, but I don't think that's a huge deal breaker since it's not the main thing that determines sound quality. To me, it's the tuning and the drivers that will play a bigger role. So let's talk about that now. The Z1 is using a single dynamic driver instead of a hybrid setup like the T1, S1 and S2. It's a larger 10mm driver and according to KZ, has some extra features built in for better sound quality. After spending some time with it, it really does sound pretty good. The bass is punchy and more focused on the sub-bass, so you can really feel the thump in certain tracks. It is especially enjoyable when listening to genres like EDM or pop music. The mids are full sounding and have a nice presence in the mix, so vocals sound really nice on these as well. The treble is also extended enough to make female vocals and some instruments sound more realistic, and it doesn't sound peaky, sibilant or fatiguing to me. Best of all, they all work together to create a coherent sound without overpowering one another. In terms of detail retrieval, imaging and whatnot, it's still not going to be as good as wired options because of the limitations of Bluetooth, so I won't go too much into that, but I think it's pretty good for a pair of wireless earbuds. Overall, I really enjoy listening to these, so much so that if they take the same driver and tuning and put it in the shell of something like the ZSN Pro, I'll probably buy it. Another thing that is worth mentioning here is the volume output. These are the loudest TWS earbuds I've tested so far. As a comparison, 50% volume on these is around 65% on the S2 and around 85% on the Halo GT1 Plus. However, this louder volume is probably part of the reason why the battery life is not that great. At the volume I'm using, which is around 50%, I was only able to get around 2 hours of use on a single charge. That's still enough for my type of usage, but I am a little concerned about long-term longevity since batteries do degrade with more usage. At the asking price of $34 US, the Z1 is a little more expensive compared to the S1 and about the same price as the S2 now that the early bird promotion is over. So I was really hoping that it would at least have USB-C charging, a bit of water resistance and slightly longer battery life. But you know what? I still think it's worth it because I really like the way it sounds, and sound quality is more important to me. So if you're like me and you're okay with those shortcomings as well, you should definitely take a look at these. Thanks for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more content in the future. Thanks again, and see you guys on the next one.